Hey, you guys, welcome back to Galactic Explorers, the podcast where we take you on the joyride through the earthly, spiritual, or everyday topic explored with that galactic perspective. You have got your neighborhood friendly favorite, everybody's favorite channelers, myself, Daniella, and the lovely, as always, Miss Dallas. We are here for you today, and today I believe is another bowl pull from our lovely audience. What do we have for us today, Miss Dallas?
All right, let's pull it from the unknown bowl.
The unknown.
Bowl of the unknown.
Topics that we haven't even looked at, discussed. No pre-planning of any of these kind.
This one says knowing and faith.
Probably the difference between knowing and faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Good one?
Yeah.
Knowing and faith.
Let's get into it. So knowing.
And faith.
How is there, but what's the difference between knowing and the faith part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like the difference between knowing and belief.
Right.
Because like you can believe that something will happen, or you can know, which is like two different energies.
Right. So how do you navigate between that, the knowing part and the belief part? Like, where do you, I guess, draw that line?
I'm trying to think of how I would describe it. It's definitely a energetic signature.
Definitely.
Difference. Much in the way where if you're doing and practicing your, quote unquote shadow work and all the rest of that, that we talk about in all of these videos. If you're doing the shadow work, you're going to run into nuances that you'll notice in yourself of feeling. So you'll start to notice the difference between when you're really doing something that you're passionate and excited about, and when you're doing something, for instance, out of habit that you have convinced yourself that you're excited about.
Yeah.
But you're not really. So there's like differences in the nuances of feeling. And how I say energetic vibration or frequency that you can feel that you're radiating.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's in there is the kind of nuance between belief / faith and knowing. So kind of once you can learn the feeling of knowing, and can recognize what that feels like to just know, versus the feeling of you believe in something.
Right.
Which is not the same as knowing. Because to believe in something or to have like faith in it almost in a sense, it means that you don't know for sure.
Right.
Just that in and of itself. And it's in its way. Like when you really get down to start investigating those kind of nuances, so you discover that you may believe in something really strongly. You may think that you intellectually understand it. But it's not the same as like knowing.
Right. That difference.
In your heart space, in your energetic field, there's like a difference in frequency when you know.
Yes. So channeling and stuff, how has that helped you of getting into channeling? Because I know that helps. I know that for me, that helps tremendously of knowing what am I experiencing is truth and what's really happening, and not
Mm-hmm.
just having the belief or the faith that, oh, like there's that difference. But I know, like, when you get into that channel mode, that you know where you're at,
Right.
who is there,
Right.
and the messages are coming, right? It's that, just, it's happening, right? It's the action,
Right.
it's actually there, present,
Right.
than the faith of something.
I think that you just hit on something really important there to talk about, maybe, is the, excuse me, this coffee, um, is that knowing is in the present moment
Mm-hmm.
versus
Definitely.
the
Yep.
belief or the faith, which is out there somewhere. Like,
Right. Just floating around, kind of like it's there,
right.
or it could be there, could not be there. There's a
Yeah, it's
possibility
almost
to it.
like playing at stress and worry about the future in a sense. It's almost like along those similar kinds of lines because you're projecting
Mm-hmm.
into the future, but instead of just knowing that it is in the present moment, it's almost like, yeah, when you play with that projection of time and allow it to throw you off kilter because you're focusing on what's projected out there rather than what's actually occurring in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, which is more
Yeah,
of knowing.
I think that's the thing that like you said, you do your channel, you do your work of the shadow work, and I think it's following your intuition of trusting yourself and trusting where you're at in that present moment
Hmm.
and what you're experiencing, and having the faith is in the future, or it's in that outside source a little
Right.
bit. um
Yeah, it's more
that
outside of yourself too.
yeah,
It's
it's
interesting.
there, but it's not part of you right at that moment.
Right. Because I feel like if it were a part of you, then you would know.
Exactly.
Kind of like how people talk about all the time, like mother's intuition. How
Hmm.
they could talk, and you could speak to this all day, like how moms just fucking know.
Right.
It's not questioned. It's like, especially if the kid is in any kind of danger of any kind or any unsavory sort of situations or things like that. It's
Sure.
like, I mean, I've read stories that the mom can be thousands of miles away, and their kid be serving in the military or doing something, it's like overseas charity work or whatever.
Hmm.
And then it's like, and the mom 3,000 miles away, the hair will stand up on the back of her neck for no reason.
Right.
And
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
that's
there's that knowing in the moment, right?
right.
That
And like
something's
what you
going on.
said, it's a frequency, right? So
Hmm.
it's, as a mother, you are connected to your children's frequency, and they're connected with
Yeah,
you
it's a
no matter
frequency
what,
match all the time. Hmm.
it's it is just, it's a knowing at the same
Hmm.
time, like, it's just, it's a interesting, you can't really put into words.
Right?
You
You
just
just
know.
know, though. You
You
just
do.
know.
You
There's no
know.
belief, there's no faith about it. It's like there's no question. You
It's
just know.
it's truth, right? There's
It
the,
is
the
yeah.
truth of it. Yeah. It's just, you fall into the truth of it, and you fall into not questioning it, not doubting it, not second guessing. You just, and
No.
that's what makes it so much stronger and builds your own intuition and builds your own, I think your energy field can expand a little bit more because you're open to
Yep.
that truth and that present moment of where you're at and what's going on, no matter what
Right.
it is.
Yeah, it's like you match frequency with it
Yep.
because it's
Yep.
always connected
Exactly.
to you, right? It's always connected to you,
Mm-hmm.
especially the mother-child bond, right?
Yep.
It's
Oh
like
yeah.
that's known universally to be excessively strong in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting, an interesting point to bring up about having that frequency match in the moment. and it's just a knowing
Right.
rather than that belief that it could be happening or that it might happen or that it might is happening. There's a questioning about it rather than a certainty.
Right. And that's where you can, I think, tangle yourself or get stuck in your head
Mm-hmm.
about things,
Oh yeah.
especially if you're trying to channel or trying to do the mediumship,
Mm-hmm.
is that if you question it, then you're out of that frequency, you're out of the alignment of it, and
You've
then
already
it's no
pulled yourself
longer
out.
the
Mm-hmm.
knowing of it. You're just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're questioning yourself of your own faith, right? And your faith of yourself, the faith of what's coming through or who's coming through or what
Right.
action's going on.
Well, you're
You're in
questioning
a
the
limbo.
truth of yourself, not even the faith. It's like you're questioning the truth of yourself. So it's
Yeah.
bringing it down into faith where it's like, well, I think so, but
Right. So you
have
don't have
faith
that.
that this is happening, but you don't have that ownership in a sense of the knowing
Mm-hmm.
in the moment, that frequency match was like you said, like, poof, oh, this is happening. Okie dokie. This is who is
Yep.
here. This is what is up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Yeah.
that allows you to, when you get into those moments, that because it happens sometimes where I'll like start to go questioning out and then I go, no, this is
Nope.
happening. And ego, go away. Like that's ego. This is not,
Mhm.
I know the difference and I can tell the difference. And then I go, I'm gonna go over here instead of
Yeah, where it's where you put your focus. You're like, oh, I
yeah,
see you. Thanks, though.
right. And
Mhm.
step into that. Okay, just let this flow through. Just let it happen. Just let it happen.
Yeah, just way out of context, but
You know what I mean?
I know, and I always have my brain in the gutter. Um, but it's true. It's really true when those moments like you were talking about with the channeling or any of these other things, those of you who find, that you're more inclined towards things like mediumship in particular, or doing energy work, healing, working Reiki, or
Mhm.
any healing spiritual reception modality, right? There's an element and a sort of, we'll call it a hurdle that you have to get over and through with yourself,
Mhm.
of it transforming when you do your practice, whatever that is. When you're doing it, that the difference between, especially when you're starting out, having faith that it's actually happening, having faith that
Oh
you're
yeah.
helping affect these people positively, with their physical health or, mental or whatever you're helping them with. It transforms from a faith into like, oh yeah, well, I know I do this. I know I not only do I know I can do it, but I do it.
Yeah.
That is part of the lexicon now. It is part, like, I am. It is no longer I think I am, or I could be, or I
Mhm.
know I have the potential to be, but it's a stepping into and recognition of that frequency of the knowing of the I am.
Mhm. Why it's you, and the more you do it,
The more
you
you get familiar.
feel it. You
hmm
feel it, and it's that's where you build the knowing of, is the feeling for yourself of it, the
Right.
energy of it, the like
Right.
it's kind of almost like a high,
Yeah,
like a little bit of
absolutely.
a rush or the lovey feeling, the butterflies,
Mhm,
excitement, like
mhm.
that's like where
Endorphins. Yep. A little bit of
that
excitement, nervousness. You're kind of
yeah,
like, I don't know if I want to do it, but I'm really excited about it. Oh my God, I know
yeah. I think that's
what's gonna happen.
the moment, or the when you're in the moment, that's the feeling that comes up. For
hmm
me, definitely. And I think that's what can be almost not addicting, but it's that
Well,
it's the rush. It's the rush of it.
it is. I mean, people like are adrenaline junkies and they jump out of planes just, for the same reason, more
Yeah.
or less, um, to get that blood pumping. But yeah, I mean, it's. Let me tell you, there have been few experience, and I know you could collaborate on this, corroborate my story here, is that there are at this point very few experiences that I've had. There are some, but there are very few experiences that I've had that can measure up to how I feel during and after a channeling session.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Like, I'm almost starting to feel it right now because as we slip it, because it's like we're about to slip into a channeling state because the next one we're going to do, I get a feeling that we're going to do some channeling in that one. So keep your eyes out for that one. Yeah, because these guys are like, hey, so we're sitting at the table. You bet ready there. You gonna wrap it up. We got shit to say. But it's funny, because yeah, you can feel it, and then that's a knowing where it's like, oh, people are starting to show up to the party.
Right.
And where was I going? I'm sorry, where were they going with that? Oh, the high of it. Yeah, because it's almost like, now don't do this at home. We're trained professionals. Now don't do this at home, right? But it's like the kind of feeling that you get, for instance, for most people, like when they smoke marijuana, where it's like you get a really kind of a head high. You're
Mm-hmm.
not out of touch with your faculties as much as when you do things like marijuana, but it's that similar kind of head high where you're like, whoop,
Mm-hmm.
see? It's like you can see a little bit more color in the world. There's like a little bit more things going on around here. It's okay. It brings you up into another kind of consciousness.
Right.
And because you're firing those parts of your brain and that part of why can't think of, not your pituitary. Dallas, why can't I think of the word?
I think I know what you're talking about. But I
Right in the
can't
middle,
name
you
it.
guys. Come on, help me out with the word. Why can't I think of the word?
So
Pineal gland. So your pineal, there we go. Got it. Thank you. So we're like, you're firing all of that stuff off and it's pulling endorphins into your brain.
yes.
Especially if you're working with the right entities. And this is actually a quick tip for you guys as we finish up with the last 5 minutes here, is like talking about channeling and the knowing versus the believing or the faith. If you're ever starting into this process and you're questioning the kind of energy that you're getting from an entity, there's a difference between it feeling physically heavy because of the energetic, I wouldn't say discord, the resonance as it tries to resolve itself between
Mm-hmm.
the two entities, yourself and the other. There's sometimes like a weightiness feel to it, like almost like the weighted blanket, but it's never, for me, it was never more than a weighted blanket. So I was never really freaked out or anything. But that's a big thing where it's like, if you're not feeling basically jazzed by the time you're done, like you just went to a big party and had a good time, like you were just at the club for a couple of hours, you might be a little tired, but fuck, are you on, like you're on.
You're
Yeah. You got adrenaline to burn, like you can't go to bed. It gets like that. So if you're not starting to feel those kinds of positive, uplifting feelings and experiences when you're working with these entities, that's one of your big clues, is to that, you're working with an entity that may not be working with you for your highest benefit.
definitely.
So that's one of your big clues.
And it's, I would say, almost like a body high too. It's
Yeah.
not just your whole body, like your whole body. Like if you come out fresh,
constantly getting chills all the time, like they just, like right now, they're just rolling through my body.
You're energetic, you've had a good session. But if you come out tired, exhausted, and beat up.
Yeah, beat up. That's the feel. Yeah. Because it might be a little tiring in the beginning as you're getting used to it.
It's a muscle. You're training that muscle.
Yeah.
You really are. You're training your body. So
you're training your body to recognize in one way or the other, whether we're talking about the knowing feeling. This is a great way to wrap it up, Dallas. Good on. Heck yeah. Is you're totally right. You're training your body to know the feeling of knowing.
Yeah.
As you do, like you said, as you do it more often, you'll recognize it and you go, oh, is this what this is? Oh.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And then one of the biggest things you realize for a lot of us is that we've been feeling this feeling a lot. We just ignored it.
Right.
Because we didn't realize that it was acceptable towards whatever that thing that we were excited about was, or what yada yada yada, or some other kind of belief system that somebody else imparted to us in their wisdom, infinite wisdom. But it's getting to know and recognize that feeling. And it's the same thing with working with entities when you are channeling, is you get to know and recognize their energy fields. And if you're working with an energy field that leaves you feeling like you got hit by a Mack truck, not just kind of tired and going like, oh, okay, maybe I might need a nap. That's one thing. But it's like, if you feel beat up, and especially it's like if you all of a sudden feel beat up and then you're feeling really bad about yourself, like your inner dialogue has really take a fucking header dive for the worst.
Yep, you're drained.
That's when you know that next time you link up and that energy presents itself, you're like, no, I don't like partying with you. You play too hard. No thanks. Next.
Yep. Definitely.
And it's the same thing with knowing, where it's like, if you are in a situation and you are learning you're learning your knowing, that feeling for you, and you walk yourself into a situation in the physical world, and all of a sudden you're getting this feeling like the opposite of that dread, that pain, that gut in your stomach that you just like,
yeah. See you later, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. See you next Friday.
Which is good. You should always thank those entities or energies that come in, because they're teaching you to, at the same time, of owning your shit and what you can handle and what you can't.
True. Yeah. It's like, just be aware and be grateful. Be like, oh, instead of being hateful on them, because they're just doing a job.
Or scared. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
You don't need to go into the fear motion of it. Just, nope, I see you. Thanks for showing up, but you're not welcome here.
Absolutely. Spot on with that. Yeah. Don't be scared. Just be like, nope, not today. But then that taught you, having that experience, just like you said, that's brilliant, is instead of looking down upon it poorly or trying to, allow it to rip on yourself and the things where it's like, oh, well, I only get negative entities that want to come talk to me, or, anything like that. You just use it as the barometer. You go, oh, okay, so this makes me feel like this. And then I know now that I'm empowered to not have to interact with that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have to continue to attract that, because once you recognize it and you go, oh no, then you've created that boundary, and then you've changed your energetic frequency signature towards that activity yourself, which empowers you to bring in contact with more quote unquote light beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
all experiences.
Knowing is an experience.
It is. It's a great one.
Belief is like more in the head.
Yeah, it's outside of yourself. And the knowing is definitely a present moment. And you feel it, trust it, just go with it. And that's it. I mean, and just
bingo.
Thank you.
Bingo. Thank you guys for watching. We're out of here. But really, thank you guys for watching. That was, slap it bang on the head there, Dallas. Way to bring it in.
All right.
So if you guys have had any experiences of the difference of knowing or believing, if you ever had any of those times where it's like, oh yeah, this is when I knew, share them below. We love to hear from you guys. We love it when you share your experiences with us and with others, so that everybody knows that they're not the only ones going through this stuff and we're all not crazy. So if you
maybe a little,
right, just a little bit. If you have experiences you want to share, we always love to hear from you. If you have questions or comments, topics for future bowl polls or things like that, we take viewer questions, all that good stuff. Drop it in the comments below. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with Dallas and I on Galactic Explorers. Check us out on all of our awesome platforms. Like, subscribe, and all the things. Facebook, YouTube, and what do we got? Spotify.
Yep.
All those good things. So many.
All of them.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Enjoy
Thank you. All right.
Go out and know things.
Go to the great knowing.